Yo, it's Noplex here, and I'm back with the Infinite Grifball podcast. This is a special championship edition. Since IGL Fall League 24 just ended, I've got all the members of Swampy Griff Bussy here to answer some questions about this past season, and maybe get a little rowdy. So, first of all, we have Hell's Angels as the captain that drafted this team. Also, we have Shrek. How you doing today, Shrek?
Oh, I'm just peachy keen. Never better.
And then we have the quantum computer infection.
What up?
We have Grunt Padre,
Hashtag.
and then we also have Trespass. How you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm pretty good. You?
Oh, doing well, doing well. So the first thing I got here is the Griff Bussy dynasty continues. So back-to-back championships. I do not know when the last time that happens. Maybe someone will be able to come in and correct me. I'm not sure at all. I know Nets Pride won a few back-to-back championships. So I'm not sure of the last time it happened. Maybe someone else knows. Infection, maybe you know.
Feels like something I should know. I'm old. Stat sheets are few and far between.
Stat
I came
master.
close in Halo 5, but didn't quite secure it.
Definitely a tall order in any kind of draft or bid league. So it's really hard when the teams are randomized and whatnot. And by the way, Hell says hi. But okay, so I'm gonna just jump right in here. The first questions I have are for Hell's the captain. And the first question I have is, you were on the fence about playing this past season, but at the last minute, you not only signed up to play, but you captained as well. Could you elaborate on the why? And the response that they had was, when it came to season 3, my plan was that I wasn't going to sign up. I felt that the player pool was a little weak. That mostly meant the season would be less fun and less competitive, which isn't as exciting, but it also meant I would probably have a later pick and less options if I were to captain, which is something I wanted to do. I enjoy being a captain, and it's a task I've taken up a lot in the past. So when there were a few last-minute signups from D-Clique, Infection, Priest, Katie, Skill, Mungo, Spence, Gingy, and Digital Pain, it really opened up the player pool for both the first and second round, which made things more exciting. Another thing that added to it was the number of captains. They kept the captain amount low instead of stretching it out, which made the teams more competitive. So that was another thing that made me confident it would be a fun season, and that's when I decided to play. Shrek, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously not having Ace in the first round kind of messes everything up. I haven't been around that long, but since I have been around, he's played in every season, and he's just the standard of what it means to be a top-level Grifball player. He's the best of the best, and not having him definitely kind of throws a wrench in everything. And with my availability being kind of whack too, I didn't really expect myself to go very early, but it worked out pretty well where I fell all the way to Hells and we were able to make this happen.
Sounds good. Fair enough. Infection, you got any thoughts?
So proud of Hells picking up the torch. Last minute, I know the signups were looking a week for a hot minute. There's lots of complaints, lots of crying and whining.
It's Griffball. What else do you
But
expect?
it all turned out in the end.
You sound like you shed a little tear there before you started talking. Tears of joy. So,
Oh man, I'm
Grunt,
glad Hells picked me up.
oh yeah, for sure. Grunt, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think this was my first time playing with Hells, and having Hells as a captain was a lot of fun. I'm glad that Hells made the decision to play.
All right, Trespass.
Yeah, I mean, Hell's definitely was intense in that we're constantly setting up scrims and whatnot, wanting us to settle in and improve where we could. So that's always what you look for in a captain. And part of why I step back, I just don't have that drive myself currently. So it was good to have a captain that kind of had to put that energy out there and kind of force the team there to get our stuff together and not just sort of let things sit by the wayside.
Yeah, that sounds good. Fair enough. All right, on to the next question for Hells. Somehow you're an underrated defender. How do you take your skill as a runner and translate it so well into defending against them? And Hells responded with, I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, as a runner, you have to be very spatially aware of everyone around you on the court. Whether you're dancing and weaving between and around players or gauging the distance someone is from you and getting ready to go for a punch. When defending a runner, I kind of jump into their mind and use their spatial awareness against them. I'll isolate myself with them so they see if I'm someone safe to punch, or I'll rush in between and behind their tanks, making me a danger to their push, which could also encourage the runner to go for me. I anticipate the switch in their mind from playing safe to, okay, I'm going to go for this punch, and time my swing. I think it's interesting to use your skill as a runner to know what another good runner is going to do, where they're going to move, when they're going to throw it out, and things like that. So I'll go ahead and pass the mic to you, Shrek, so you can give your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense. I think probably the best overall Grifball players are the best runners, in my opinion. There's a lot you got to keep track of. There's a whole lot of action going on around you, and especially those players that are the really good route runners. You just got to have that next level awareness. So to me, it makes a lot of sense how good runners would translate to being great defenders, because you're able to take in that information and adjust your play accordingly.
I agree. All right, Infection, it's on you.
Lane identification and wrap identification.
Mm-hmm.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And man, Hells is just damn near picture perfect when it comes to that. Just so perfectly aggressive, kind of knows when to pull some tricks out of the hat and when not to. It's a nice give and
That's a
take.
great point. I'm not trying to cut you off, but I mean, with the wraps, I just during the season, or going into the season, I should say, one of the biggest things that I wanted was just to have a good runner on my team, and I saw Hells take advantage of some wraps unlike anything I've ever seen before. And I mean, just to echo your point, like that was some nutty ass shit, like some of the craziest scores I ever saw. And yeah, it just makes sense, man.
Be crunched on defense, like just persevering, like 5-minute round, 10-minute round, out of nowhere, like goal scored.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Some nutty shit.
What did you do? We rarely get the clips.
Yeah, I find that someone who runs that's just so tough to switch those gears from runner to whenever you don't have the ball, and then you gotta switch everything to tanking. Tank off ball, get the ball back. That just seems pretty difficult to me. So, all right, well, Grunt, do you have any thoughts on that question?
Yeah, I basically concur with everything else that was already said. Hells is really aware of where everyone else is at on the court. Always looking for group, getting those wraps. There are many times this season that we would get Hells past most of the enemy, and we'd be like, all right, well, only one to beat. Don't kill anyone. Hells get that one punch score many times.
All right, Trespass, got anything to say?
Nothing more than what's already been said, just reiterating that, yeah, obviously running lets you have that inner knowledge of where the other team is how they're gonna try to push to score as you're doing the same thing to them. So it just helps defensively with that. It gives you more of an awareness on the field.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, so the last question I have for Hells is, how hard will you work to put together the Griff Bussy 3-peat next season? And Hells responded, I'd love to make that happen. I've really enjoyed the teams I've been a part of in these past 2 seasons, and being able to win ships with those guys, and for them to be able to say they are champions is a great feeling for me, knowing I helped that. It would also be interesting to see how it would work in a bid format and the possibilities there. When there's a will, there's a way, and there is a will. If there's an opportunity for it, it'll definitely be looked into. So, all right, I'll go ahead and pass it off to Shrek so you can give your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good time being a part of this team. Not gonna lie, going into it, I was a bit concerned, given some of the history, but it was good to put some of that aside, and yeah, I mean, it was a cool experience, and even though we're playing a video game, it was a cool maturing experience as well. Maturing experience where you get to move past some of the bullshit and let the past be the past and just move on and have a good time. And for us, we won the whole thing, which is awesome.
All right, on to you, Infection.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat,
So it's all good.
by the chat box,
Talking to Stephen Hawking out here.
the jiffies. LFG
Check plate.
check plate. Holy shit! Oh,
Turnover.
God. I keep overcrowding. Repeat the question. I'm so deep in now.
It was
Just got me laughing.
it was the three-peat question, asking Hells how hard will they work together to try to reassemble some players from the team in next season.
Whatever it takes, right? Right? Do a bit, right? I mean, no, we click. We jazz.
Hey, whatever it takes. That sounds like a good enough answer for me. All right, on to you, Grunt. Do you have any thoughts?
Yes, I'll do my best to continue to be a what was I, like a third rounder? That way we can have this team again.
Right,
Fair.
you didn't say it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I will not be looking for any group until the very. No looking for group. We can't be looking for group. If I'm looking for group, then they'll realize that I'm better than they think I am. So there will be no looking from group. I'll just disappear off the face of the earth until signups.
Hey, sandbagging is an art form. I'm one of the best at it. I've been underrated for like 9 fucking years, so I know all too well. All right, on to Trespass. Do you have any thoughts?
Oh, I'm repeating that same strategy. I'm going on hiatus here as soon as this is done until next season starts. But no, it was a good year. I would love to team with these guys again next season.
Yo, real shit, Trespass popped the fuck off this season. I don't care what anyone says, bro. S- multi-kills per minute. That's my GOAT, dude. I've been saying it. I've been saying
Look
it
at the
since
stats.
season 1, bro. Trespass, I fuck with this dude. I want to team with Trespass every season if I had the option. I mean, this dude can play.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
He's got some good questions I've got for him later on in that. So it's funny because the last championship podcast, it was the same whenever I was interviewing Shank and Aware. They actually touched on the questions that I had later for them already. So I was able to tell them, oh, don't worry, you got a good one coming later in your questions. So, all right, Shrek, it's on to you and your questions. All right, the first question I have for you is, after the last season's championship loss, how great does it feel to come back this season, get to the championship again, but win it this time?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because last season I poured my heart and soul into it. I worked my ass off. I had a pretty good season overall. Good run with a great team, and I was. It sucked. It sucked losing, mostly because I was being an asshole and I was talking too much shit, and then karma caught up with me, and I was excited going into this season and I wanted to win, but I don't know how to word this without being disrespectful to our opponents, but it was just kind of. It was kind of easy this season in playoffs, and I'm really not trying to be arrogant, but this team just worked. Hells and Infection have great chemistry, and there were some times where we were pushed, but overall, especially in the championship, it really didn't feel like we were playing in a championship. It was kind of just, oh, we're playing, we're having a good time, we're popping off, we're making plays, and yeah, just having a good time. So it feels good, but it also, part of that feeling of, oh hell yeah, we won, isn't really there because the whole playoffs just felt kind of low key, and like we were just having a good time. But yeah, happy to win with these guys. It was a great season.
Definitely. Infection, you have any thoughts on that?
Hell yeah. Every game should feel the same. Just chill. Just we're out here having fun. Got to do better more than the other team does. You know, make fewer mistakes. You're still gonna make mistakes, but just vibe it out. No one has to be the ultimate. So
Yeah.
it was a blast being with these guys.
I've always felt Grifball is a lot like being a quarterback or maybe even a point guard in basketball. As long as you're throwing more touchdowns than picks or more assists and turnovers, you're going to make mistakes. But as long as you're, in the plus and not in the minus, as far as playmaking and whatnot, I feel like you're going to find success and be able to go in with confidence. So, all right,
Yeah, exactly.
on to you, Grunt. Do you have any thoughts?
I don't remember what the question is, but to add to what Shrek was saying about how
LFG.
about LFG, how it didn't look like, didn't feel like playoffs. For the record, our first playoff match series, I did not know was playoffs until the next day.
I was like, wait, that was quarters?
Yeah, that was funny.
I mean, that's how it felt though, even for me knowing it was playoffs. I mean, the first series was a little bit that was a little tense, but after that, yeah, that was a little scary. But man, after that, it really kind of just was smooth sailing.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Trespass, do you have any thoughts?
I mean, I didn't actually get to play playoffs, so I was just there for moral support, but it was always fun being in chat with the guys, just typing in the Discord there as I was watching on streams or whatever, and spamming the hype as they were winning.
Hey man, bench power is everything. I know all too well about how important bench power is.
Yeah.
All right, so the next question I have is, as a football coach, what do you think translates from that into competitive Grifball?
Oh shit, that's a loaded question right there. Yeah, there's actually one thing that comes to mind, and I'm a very stubborn person. I don't like to be wrong, but Hells was scheduling us some of the most bullshit ass scrims
Bro,
you've ever
tell me
seen in your
about
life,
it.
where we're playing against goddamn Ace, Novice, Lux, and Cosmos or some shit, and just getting our teeth kicked in. And it was, I mean, I get pissed. I'm a competitive dude. I hate losing, even in customs like that, where we're just practicing, trying to get better. And I'd get so mad, and I'd be bitching about it in the team chat. And now that you've actually brought up this point, it kind of makes me realize I preach to my guys all the time that, in football, in life, there's going to be stuff that you have to do, and you have to get it done, and it's not going to be fun. In fact, it's going to suck, but it's a necessity, and you have to suffer through it, and it's going to make you a better man. It's going to make you a better football player. In this case, it's going to make you a better Grifballer, and I mean, Hell's just kind of proved to me that point is true through playing all those scrims against goddamn super teams where we just got our teeth kicked in. It made us a better team, and it strengthened us as individual players. It strengthened us as a unit, and yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the biggest thing I would say. Aside from that, just keeping your composure and executing the things that you know how to execute, not trying to do too much, not trying to be the hero, but just doing your job and relying on your teammates is another big one. And that was the biggest thing for me this season. Is I had no doubt that my teammates, whether it's Hells or Infection or Grunt or even Trespass, I mean, these are some reliable teammates that would pick up my slack whenever I needed it, and yeah, I think yeah, a lot of it ties over for sure.
All right, Infection, you have anything to add?
Yeah. I mean, Shrek said it. Actually quoted Saban directly. I don't know if you're trying to or not. That was one of the things he preached at the University of Alabama before he retired. Thank God. A legend, man. Oh my God, the dynasty.
Yeah, now they're
Do
fucked.
your job. It's all it really takes. You ain't got to go above and beyond, but you do need to stick to your roles and execute them as best you can. Teamwork always builds on more than individualism. That's a big thing that I preach on my teams. It's not you don't have to dive deep to desperately seek a pop off. Like we don't need that. They'll come naturally. Just do your thing. They'll squirt themselves out. It's beautiful to see in action.
Yeah.
I think that really tells why last season ended the way it ended, because not last season as in the one we just won, but the season before that.
Season 2.
Yeah, season 2. I mean, me and Snipes, we're both just cocky ass. We want the highlight clips. We want to kill shit, and we want the big plays. As opposed to you guys were cool, calm, and collected, and relying on each other. As to where we were kind of just a team of individuals, and that's no slight against Snipes or Avenger or Cosmos, because it all falls back to me as the captain. But I kind of perpetuated that culture of individualism on that team, as to where, compared to this season, we were more of a unit, and we were moving as a group, not moving as individuals. So yeah, I couldn't agree more.
All right, Grunt, did you have any thoughts?
I'm looking up cat pictures right now.
You're deep in the cats.
deep in the GIF jar.
It's GIF, by the way.
I think it's GIF, but I
No,
said
the creators of GIF say
creators.
it's.
I don't give two fucks what the
They-
creators
They
said.
said it's a GIF. Why do they
They're
say
wrong.
that?
The creators are wrong.
the creators are wrong. All right,
Preemptively post the crying, Jeff. For this reason.
Trespass. Do you have anything to add?
What was the question again?
Well, it was just Shrek going on about coaching things translating to Grifball and the super
Sorry,
teams,
man.
the super team scrims and stuff like that.
Oh, right, yeah. I mean, and I've coached hockey as well, and obviously playing hockey growing up here. Yeah, it's a similar mentality in that sometimes you just gotta suck it up and take one for the team and do what's best for the group. And if that means getting your ass kicked for half an hour to an hour and some rough scrims, then so be it. So it's all part of trying to have everything come together for what you're wanting, which is ultimately a championship, which seems to have worked out pretty well, all things
Hell yeah.
considered.
We scored 4 on that team twice, by the way. The second time we were up 4-0, and they came back. But we scored 4. Not a silent.
I was not part of that scrim then.
I was in a few of those super team scrims, so if I was in there, you technically weren't scrimming a super team. I'm
That's
saying.
so damn stupid.
Hey, we're just trying to activate you, man. Just trying to-
All I know is I cried myself to sleep after those scrims. That's all I can say. But it worked out. It worked out.
All right. Well, the last question that I have for Shrek is, if you can't beat them, join them. Am I right? How are you really feeling after being drafted by Hells and Infection this season? Be honest, LMAO.
How was I feeling in the moment?
Yes.
Oh man. I mean, I'm glad Hells consulted me before picking me, because if Hells would have picked me without saying anything to me, I would have probably freaked out, and the season probably would have gone very differently. But yeah, Hells included me in that decision, and made sure it was something that I was willing to be a part of, which I really appreciated that. I was still definitely nervous, very nervous. And like our team, there wasn't like all the personality chemistry. Like it definitely wasn't like last season where, me and my team last season, we literally were just having a ball every time we played. Like at the beginning, it was definitely a little awkward for us, but we moved in the right direction and we had a lot of fun and we won, which is the biggest thing. And we had a ton of chemistry on the court too, which was really surprising to me, given the fact that at first we didn't mesh amazingly.
Yeah, it takes a little time to get some team comp together. I just want to backtrack for a second here and put in a note that Hell's typed about the question of the playoffs feeling a little more easier than they probably should have. And Hell said, I'd like to just touch on that and say I think a big part of making it feel so easy was the prep and work we put into it. Infection and I used a lot of brain power into thinking of ways to counter our opponents, and also scrims against really strong teams toughened us up and made regular teams feel easier and calmed our nerves in those big games. We put ourselves through hell, and when it come time to fight, we were ready. Yeah, definitely pun intended. So, all right, now I guess on to Infection. Did you have any thoughts about that, about picking up Shrek this season?
Blew me away. I missed the entire draft. Els and I had DM'd a little bit before. I picked my phone up. Hell's Angel. Shrek, me, Grunt Padre, Trespass. That's it. There's the ship right there. I don't care who. I can get over differences with anyone. It's just Grifball. It's nothing personal. I'm just trying to win.
You got to put
and this is an easy pathway to it.
Yeah, you got to put the fun in dysfunctional. I always say, and that's the way you get winning done. All right, Grunt, do you have any thoughts on this?
What is the question?
And if you don't, you can just say you don't.
As you go.
Yeah.
We can just read them 80 times before it's hard to.
That's true. That's true. And if you don't, if you don't have anything really, you can just say you don't have anything to say. But yeah, I'll just edit this part out. Yeah, I'll just edit this part out. But let me just post this real quick so y'all can see it. See the outline. Yeah, I should have done that anyways.
I was gonna say I just
all right.
them out as we go.
There you go. I'm gonna pin it too. But yeah, we were on.
Get it out. Leave it rolling, dude. You gotta leave it hot.
I gotta take out some stuff. I got a status quo to maintain. But the question was, if you can't beat them, join them for Shrek, and it's more of I guess how you felt ending up on this team this season, having such a rambunctious group of fellers.
And be honest.
And be honest.
Yeah, and be honest.
Honestly, I'll play for any team. It doesn't really matter. I don't think I've
That's such a good
played
tip.
with. I don't think I've played in a season actually with any of my team, but I still had a lot of fun. I wouldn't change anyone on our team. It's a great season.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that there. I just kind of go and play with whoever, I kind of mesh. I mesh with a lot of teams, so I can always find a way to contribute. So, all right, well, it's on to you, Trespass, if you have any thoughts.
So I'm just gonna say this. Apparently, there was drama that I missed because, admittedly, I was not tuned into the Discord for the last 10 months because of work's been ridiculous. So, if it says anything, I did not notice any hiccups with the team at all. It felt like everybody was just slotting right in. All right, let's go. Time to win a ship. Let's go. So that should tell you everything about it, considering I didn't even know that there was conflict before the season. Literally just figuring this out now. So that should tell you everything you need to know.
Fair enough. All right, so moving on. Now we have Infection. We have your questions here. So the first question I have for you is, do you even try to be such a good glue player or role player like you do? Do you work towards it, or do you just fall into it naturally, standing in the middle like you do?
first, because Hell's got it out quicklier this time. They have a comment from the last question. It says, I'll out them both and say they had their concerns about each other, but I trusted both of them to be adults, and I trusted that both cared more about playing Grifball, having fun, and winning over any prior feelings of each other or any stepping on each other's toes. It was amusing to watch the two of them try and connect, and it took its time. There was even a scary moment where a trade was on the cards, but Hells trusted both of us to trust the process and knew if we worked together, it would pay off and we would win.
Yeah, I think you need players that don't always get along to play together well and to win. I just don't think you can play with your friends and be competitive, but I think it's kind of easier if you just kind of put together a team for competitiveness. Personalities might clash or whatnot, but it's all about Grifball skill. I mean, that's what you're working towards. So,
Right.
but yeah,
All the teamwork elements.
yeah.
It's really a great chorus song in some of the parts.
Yeah, Shrek, did you have any thoughts?
No, yeah, I mean, I no, not really.
All right, that's fine.
I can look
Grunt,
back and answer
yeah.
my first question
All right, yeah, go ahead.
if you want. I think that's why Shrek was confused because like, I hadn't
Yeah.
really answered shit.
That's why we edit.
Hey, I'm just speaking on behalf of Hells here, man.
Yeah.
Taking advantage of my time, eh? Yeah, you have to be. Someone's got to be the glue on the court. You got to keep an eye on all your teammates, make sure you're filling needed gaps, stepping into what needs to be done when it needs to be done. It's a song and dance, an ebb and a flow. It takes a keen eye to be able to do that. The fact I have the benefit of having Hells to help me out and do that 2 seasons in a row was just tremendous benefit. Splitting the load of glue, if you will, it enables both of us to really do some wackier things than we'd be able to alone.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, now you can go, Shrek.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I mean, I can't really speak to whether it's a natural thing or not for Infection, but what I can say is he does a great job at being that glue. Where, I mean, he did have some damn good stats this season. I'm not gonna lie. There were times in games where he was more positive than I was. I was like, damn, I
Not
gotta
a good sign.
step it up a little bit.
Never a good sign.
And yeah, he does a great job with capitalizing on space that's given by the other team, and especially shot calling as well. I naturally do a lot of shot calling, and there was a point in the season where I wasn't really thrilled with how I was playing, so I asked, I don't know if I asked or told Infection if he could do more of the shot calling and I could focus more on my play. And I think from there it kind of naturally went to like a 50-50 split, or maybe it was a little more lopsided than that, I don't really know, where Infection and I would make most of the calls. And whenever we saw something, we called it out, and usually if one of us confidently called out something that we should capitalize on, we ended up scoring because of it. And yeah, he just serves a unique purpose that I don't think many players can serve well, and he does a good job at it.
All right. Grunt, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, so I do think that Infection was very important for us winning this season. He, like Trek was saying, like there's not a lot of players that are just as good as he is at not just like tanking, but also running and slightly getting away from Infection, but also Hells as well is a really good runner, but also they can just switch it up whenever, and all of a sudden now Infection's going to start running, but Hells is going to start tanking, and we can win either way. And I think that was very important this season.
Trespass?
Yeah, I'm gonna focus more on Infection's role, like in terms of comms and whatnot. He was just a calming presence. Like there was never a time where I can remember of him just kind of like losing his shit, like I was sometimes, or anything along those lines. He just was always just sort of doing his thing, a consistent player that's really all you can ask for. There was no uh, issues of which infection are you gonna get today. It was always this is what infection's gonna do. You know he's gonna do it, and that's really all you can ask for in a player.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to the second question, and this kind of ties into the first question, so I don't know if I'll run through everybody and get their thoughts on it because it's almost the same question, but it's a little more detailed. So, in the past, when we were teammates long ago, I called you the post because you would just fucking post up in the middle of the court, whether it's offense or defense, and allow your teammates to be able to play their game and not have to worry about someone getting behind and that sort of thing. So, how much of an impact do you think doing this led to your team's success this season?
I mean, it feels like a good amount. We'll say just being reliable in like my efforts to post up. I guess it was more in seasons prior, like a decade ago. I didn't have. I see that typing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had some notes on this one because this is the one you sent me. I didn't really get a lot of value out of my posting up in when I played in like 2014, 2015. I got some, but it was inconsistent because I was trying to overdo the support role and try and force pop-offs out of myself as a means to finally getting through playoffs. I love choking in semis and choked in a few ships as well. So really it was redefining how I post up to just damn, it's hard to explain.
yeah. Well, I was on that team with you for 10 years ago, all that time, and I would. Yeah, I would say you had a big impact for what you did. I mean, we went 14-10 that season and missed playoffs because we were in the hardest division because we were in the division with Hybrid Theory and Next Dimension. So there was no conference play, so we got screwed. We had a winning record and still missed playoffs. But
God, you're just reopening the wounds.
yeah, we were number
like a 10-10 or 8-12 team getting in.
yeah, yeah, and it was like we were number one for a while, but then we just kind of tailed off towards the end of the season, lost some big games and whatnot. So I would say personally, you had a big impact. You helped me to play well because I was the idiot that just charged forward all the time while you were passive, and I would just feed you kills to start pushes. So
well, that's all I was back then. It was passive.
True.
I allowed people just to come into me, and that's an easy game to play. Once you learn how. It's I just wasn't cognizant of my presence on the court back then, like when we played together. I had to tap into more of my potential while really taking off the support role, barely. Just modifying approach. It's just got to be dynamic. It was real static a decade ago. I had a real rigid view of the game and how to approach it, and that has just been blown out of the water since I've come back.
All right,
Behind
so
you.
the last question that I have for you is, was it tough for you to transition to a runner this season? Because I know I watched you hold the ball in our playoff series some to give your team a different look or just hold until it's ready to throw back to Hells. Did you have to work at that a lot?
So, yeah, there was some comments a couple rounds ago of the change in tempo that would come from just swapping off running. It took a lot of effort lately, not gonna lie. Whenever I'd have the opportunity to take the ball, I'd take it and try to die as fast as I could. I needed punch practice. We don't play punch practice anymore. I've seen Griftagon making comebacks. I think that's just hammer based though. I don't think I ever did that back in the day. So I was annoying for a lot of players in the league, just getting my reps in. I wanted to maximize how much practice I got in the time I was putting in. But this really started in preparation for the season 2 championship. I was running in some of those super team, really classically format scrims that we were doing, just trying to get my reps in, just to add another layer of dynamic gameplay.
All right, Shrek, do you have any thoughts of when Infection took over as a runner for a different tempo?
Yeah, it was definitely a change up, which is a great weapon that we could throw at a team if we were getting kind of stalemated or slowed down a little bit. Hell's put in some work.
It saved the semis.
Yeah, I mean, Hell's could put in some work tanking. Not to say that Infection couldn't, but just being able to throw that curveball at a team where, I mean, you have a totally different approach. Maybe not totally different, but a pretty different approach to both tanking and running when it comes to these two.
I like
So
to
it was-
run in their throats.
Yeah, oh,
It
oh
feels
yeah.
like Hells will dance around, hit tiptoes a little bit more.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
try to
finding
Embed myself as deep as I can.
yeah, hell yeah. I mean, Hell's is more finding those wraps and those tricky little routes where you just go like a goddamn psychopath and just run at dudes. Which I mean, it's great. It was an awesome weapon for us to have in our arsenal, and it helped us out a lot, for sure.
All right, Grunt, did you have any thoughts?
No comment. No.
All right, Trespass.
Deep in the cat juice.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I think one of our strengths this season was definitely that we could actually almost run by committee. It was, if someone was struggling, they could just pick up the ball and just say, "You guys tank, I'm just gonna run," and it let us, as they mentioned, kind of throw some curveballs at the other teams that some of them just could not handle, depending on who was running. So it was definitely a big impact over the season, and obviously the mix-up between Infection and when Hells would run was a big one, but I think we got used to it pretty well, and were able to make both styles work.
Hey, Grunt got a goal in the ship, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, see? Run by committee. Every one of us could pick up the ball and run if we wanted to, which is what helped
Set
us.
like a goal.
Yeah.
We're gonna release the Grunt runner. In this
I think it really helps. It really helps just having literally all of us be able to just pick up the ball and run with it if needed.
Yeah, no necessary evils here to just like, well, I mean, it'd be worse without it.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way because running, personally for me, is fucking terrifying. But all right, well, moving on, we're gonna get to Grunt Padres questions, and Grunt, the first question that I have for you is: after 2 first-round exits in the playoffs in Season 1 with Griff Saga and in Season 2 with Crazy Guys, how sweet was it to not only get back to the playoffs but go all the way to the championship and win this season?
Oh, it was awesome. That was a lot of fun. Yes, first Infinite ship. I think it might be my second ship. I had one recorded that I won like back in 2020 somewhere. A document where I was tracking my wins. So I think this is my second win, but it's been so long, I can hardly recall winning a ship
Document,
before. So
putting it
it's,
lightly.
yeah. It was a lot of fun playing with these guys.
Yeah, to just go back a second and notate something that Hell said, what we were talking about previously. Hell said that we were very, very versatile, and anytime we switched the runner, our opponents were facing a whole new team or a different look, just like you were saying. So it makes sense. Sometimes you might be getting tanked back into the wall and switching up the runner just to give someone else a fresh look at tanking to try to push some people back. It can
What's our
definitely
favorite place to play from?
the back wall.
Yeah. It puts hair on your chest. You got to piss 3 to poop 5. You got it. Sometimes you gotta.
All right, so the next question I have for Grunt, which will be a little bit more of an open-ended
Just went
one.
all right.
All right then, it'll be a little bit
Moving
more of
on from this weird ass motherfucker.
Hey, you gotta keep it lighthearted.
an. In season 1 and season 2, most that played against you would describe you as a passive tank, but from my experience this season, especially in that playoff series, I didn't find you to be very passive. I mean, you would dance a little bit, but you seemed a little bit more calculated, a little more aggressive, and a little more deadly and less passive. Do you agree with that, or could you elaborate on your approach?
Yeah, I do not think I really agree with that. I'm not sure that most people would have called me a passive tank in season 1 and season 2. I think I'm usually known as a hold forward tank. If anything, I've probably gotten slightly more passive each season. Definitely season 2 and season 3. But I don't think my playstyle has changed much since generally figuring shit out in season 2. So yeah, I'm not really sure who calls me a passive tank. I'm pretty sure I have one of the lowest average lifespans in the entire league, actually, like every season. And that's usually not just an infinite thing. That's usually across games. So yeah.
It's beautiful.
I think I've gotten each season. I think I've gotten a little bit better at knowing like when it's okay to push and die potentially, and that time is I need to at least buy enough time for my team to make it up to the court for risking it.
Oh, it's always time to push in and die. On my Grifball watch, it's always time to chunk bodies. So
You gotta pull the leash. Come on, and do it as a team.
Shrek, did you have any thoughts on that? On
Yeah,
Grunt's playstyle?
Yeah. One of my favorite things about having Grunt on my team is that this dude will just randomly go berserk and just rip through like 5 enemies in a row, if not more. And I would usually just be screaming "Daddy Grunt" whenever he goes off like that. And he'd literally just be pissing on everyone. And it was really weird because a lot of the times whenever I was like trying to go in and tank and stuff, I'd see Grunt out of the corner of my eye literally just holding forward, running motherfuckers down, and dying a lot in the process. But then it was like once every couple of minutes he would just go on a tear, ripping through their entire team. And I love that because it was whenever I see stuff like that, that gets me going. That gets me excited, and it just makes me play better too. Whenever I see my teammate ripping it up, it's like, damn, I want to do some of that. Hell yeah, I got the little half jump going.
That's a great point. It was a team built of those just getting each other jump.
Streaky ass players where
like
when we get going, it just gasses everyone else up, dude.
It was great. Hacker
But yeah, I guess
Is this one I think it is? Oh yeah.
But yeah, I guess Infection. If you want to share your thoughts on that, if you have any.
He's hacking. Oh yeah, sorry, I was hacking. Do you want to look back and say Hell's comment?
Oh yeah, you can if you'd like this time.
It was in response to me, so I didn't know if
Yeah.
do like a first second party thing.
Yeah, you could if you want. I did last time, so.
All right. That's actually a great point about our favorite spot being against our own wall. And Eastbrook brought this up in the championship commentary. He mentioned how we make the most out of bad situations or losing positions, and it's very true. Even when we're losing, we're winning, and we're always aware of opportunities for goals, which is how you win. I think it can also be attributed to those rough scrims where we've learned how to fight and make things happen when our backs are against the wall. Sorry, Hells doesn't mean to be so late. They're just a slow typer. Again, a hacker typer.
Trespass, did you have any thoughts about Grunt's playstyle?
Unfortunately, we didn't really play a ton because when I was playing, Grunt usually wasn't, and vice versa. So I don't have too much. So I'm just gonna yield my time on this one.
Right. Fair enough.
He's not passive at all. Oh my god.
No, hell
Come
no.
on.
That's a mentally deranged ass
What?
motherfucker.
It's
In all
round
honesty,
three.
I'm oblivious to like 3/4 of the people, so I do not focus on whether they're passive or aggressive most of the time, unless they're extreme to one end. And honestly, I was not paying attention that much this season
I think,
for your guys' playstyle.
yeah, I think it's important
To
to
that
have a
extent.
little. I think it's important to have a little bit of both because I'm generally passive, but I like to switch it up because I think being
You gotta
unpredictable
have a
is.
dog in it.
Yeah, I think being unpredictable is the best thing to be because if you just do one thing too many times, people are going to read what you're doing and then just run through you. So,
Yeah, hell yeah.
well, the last question that I have for you, Grunt, and this is the one that I was getting to that y'all already touched on it a bit. So, how much help do you feel scrimming against the super OP teams helped you succeed in playoffs?
I think that was like what made us win the playoffs. Every night, like, well, since the first match of playoffs that I didn't know was playoffs, uh, yeah, Hells was looking for group every night, looking for group. Did I mention
LFG.
looking for group? Yeah, LFG. We kept playing super teams that would kick our shit in. I don't think we ever won, but we could sometimes push them back and keep them from like we could keep them going for a long time, and I think that it helped a lot to do that right before playoffs again and again, because then once it came to playoffs it was like we just there's an analogy that I should be looking for but I can't think of it, but it's like we just had like weights lifted off our shoulders and it made it all that much easier.
Hyperbaric time chamber.
Shrek, did you want to touch on that a little bit more? Scrimming against the super teams being helpful.
No, I fucking hated it, but it worked out.
Oh, I know you hated it. That's why I asked you about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely beneficial, but in the moment, it was quite painful. And I mean, I touched on it a little bit, but I'm a very emotional player. I'm like the opposite of Infection, where this dude is just even keel. You know, he's gonna do what he's gonna do, and he's gonna be consistent. Um, I definitely play depending on how my mood is. If I'm feeling myself and I'm having fun, I can tear it up. If I get upset and start feeling sorry for myself and thinking that I suck, then I'm gonna play like ass. And my biggest thing with playing those super teams was it just kills my confidence, which is a pretty big tell that I put too much weight on myself to be the one to carry a team. Where Infection and Hells, I think, were probably trying to teach me that lesson of, hey, it's not about you, buddy. We're a team. Which it worked out. It worked out.
All right.
It's just a cart and horse thing.
Infection.
Yep.
Your thoughts?
Let me go to the document. Shit.
Is the super teams question?
Oh yeah, I love it, man. Just it's goatsy just in 2024. You get used to just dilating at like 12 inches and then the ship is like 3. You good. It's rough in the moment and you gotta learn how to deal with immense pressure constantly, non-stop. You'd have silent, just hammer jumping in respawn. Just one kill after another after another. Gotta break out. How you do that? Yeah. How you gonna learn if you're not there just getting decimated? Because it always starts off rough. Not gonna lie. The first few games, they're quick. Me and Hells know from season 1 though that if you do this long enough, even your first games of the night, you'll start scoring more and more. You'll just start naturally falling into that more difficult rhythm against the difficult teams, which dwarf the difficulty of draft teams of bid teams. The benefits tangible in almost every way. I'll do it until I retire.
Trespass.
LSG.
Trespass. Do you have anything to add to that?
I'm just gonna reiterate that obviously, you play teams of that caliber, it's going to help. But my God, is it tilting in the moment? Like Jesus Christ, trying to do anything against half those teams had me raging pretty good. But obviously, yeah, the more you play against them, you're gonna get better. But yeah, it's rough. It's rough out there, bud.
Yeah, I think it's a fine line between not just getting destroyed because you don't really get better from that if you're just getting 5-0'd, 5-0'd quickly. But I will say, on the other hand, against a team like that, if you put up a goal, one goal, it can be 5-1. That's a hell of a fight. And I know there was a couple of those games I played in, like you said, y'all put up 3 goals in one of those games I know, and 4 in another. So that's crazy. And had no business putting up 3 goals on the teams y'all were playing against. So all I'm saying, you put up a goal like that on that team, that's basically winning against them almost, especially 2. So all right, so now I'm going to move on to trespass. Here's your questions. The first question I have for you is: you seem to have a knack of winning championships, whether as a player or I know in the past you've captained teams to glory, whether you played for them or not, drafted a team. What's your secret?
So, the yeah, I think this is number 3. The first one in Halo 5 was just a result of playing a lot at the time. I was playing a lot in that era, which I've kind of pitted off, but that really helped with the first one. Kind of carried over into the second ship, which was Halo 3, but even then, my big thing with that was in the playoffs, knowing that Larry was playing a lot better than me at that point, so letting him kind of take the reins and fit in behind, I think it was Digital Sab, and I'm blanking on the third, but that's really it. And then, I mean, obviously this one was just more luck, being drafted by Hells, and then having such a good team to play with all season. Didn't really have much this one apart from showing up for scrims where possible and trying to do my best.
All right, well, I'm going to move on to your next question. These next 2 will be a little bit more open-ended for your teammates to be able to dive in more. So the next question I have for you is: playing with you last season, I mean, we played some games together in Season 2 when you filled in for us. You're a good playmaker. You're good with equipment. You're definitely effective when you flank at times for those passing goals. How well did your play style fit in with Swampy Griff Bussy? Man, I love saying that.
I mean, they'll be a little bit more in tune to say whether it worked or not, but I felt it fit in pretty well because there was that strong tanking line with the other 3 players, basically whatever the lineup was. They were all very strong in that respect, so that kind of let me not have to hold a hard line with tanking. I could have a bit of freedom to roam around and, as you mentioned, go for equipment or go for flanks or just try to be a pain in the ass without being a robot running to the front line trying to hold line and go from there. Like I could do some stuff. It more so I just get bored trying to hold the line, so it's sooner or later I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'm going for a flank. And especially when the rounds get ridiculously long, like some of them have a tendency to. I thought it fit in pretty well, and I thought everyone kind of was able to not. They let me have the freedom, is what I was trying to say. They let me have the freedom to do that.
Oh, definitely. Shrek, do you have any thoughts about Trespass's play style being beneficial to your team?
Yeah, this dude's just a gamer. I mean, I don't know what else I can say. I think Trespass might be one of the most overlooked players and probably underrated. I mean, Buddy doesn't practice, and he's still... I mean, he played, 6 games or something like that? But, I mean, having a C grade as a 5th rounder, I mean, that's... Or 4th rounder? I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, 4th rounder.
That's impressive, dude. And I've told Trespass. I mean, we had one night where I think we were even goddamn infection pulling up Crunker, bro. You're messing up my interview.
I'm sorry. Grunt said it.
But chat. Dude, I mean, like, I firmly believe. Or let me go back. So there was one time where we were playing against one of those goddamn super teams, and Trespass was filling in, and he got super pissed because we were getting our asses kicked. And I was pissed too, I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, I firmly believe that this dude, if he put as much time as me or Chemical or whoever else has gone from being kind of a mediocre, okay player to being a pretty solid player, he'd be just as good. I have no doubts in that. And I mean, dude still performed despite not really playing that much. And, you know, he's just here to have fun. He's not here to be an S tier sweat stain of a Grifball player. Um, but yeah, I mean, I Trespass knows I fuck with him. I've told him several times that I mess with him. I told him I want to pick him up next season if he enters. Um, yeah, I just like this dude. He's a good person to have on your team and just a solid ass player.
Uh, Infection, did you want to elaborate on that?
May I agree
He's
with
too busy
Shrek.
playing Crunker.
I'm trying to figure out how to get back to the chat without.
Let me get in here.
I might just
I
disconnect.
popped out my crunker so I can see the chat and
See,
like,
I
I got
tried
3
popping
monitors.
mine out and it didn't give me my chat back. So
I'm
now
about to
I,
spend $4 on the full Krypton set. It's over for you guys.
I spent one buck and it was like purchasing. I hope I didn't actually purchase it. I don't need Crunker.
You're gaming. Yeah, you do.
Skins.
This
I
is
don't need
how
Crunker
we
skins.
won.
I know it's pay to win. It's
You
fine.
be crunked.
Check me.
Check me.
All
Was
right,
it also
let's
something
get
to say?
back.
I
Let's
can't
get
see
back on topic.
No, it was fun mixing it up, playing with Trespass. It was just a different type of play to contribute to the team. Just added more layers to trying to figure us out. Every team's dynamic. You got to be able to figure out that puzzle every season. So Trespass was a welcome piece.
Grunt, I know that usually whenever you were playing, Trespass wasn't, and whenever he was, you weren't. But so I wasn't sure if you had any thoughts to add with that.
Yeah, I did not get to really play with Trespass very much this season, and honestly, I haven't gotten to play with him a lot recently. But he's been around. I feel like he's been around for quite a while. Like I recognize his name, so I don't think he should be overlooked.
Oh, yeah.
2016.
I
February
knew
of
it.
2016.
First thing I asked him was like, "Hey, are you Euro?"
Oh, it's been so long that I've gone over to law school in England, completed my degree, and now I'm back in Canada.
He said the words.
The words.
Back.
So I'm back.
Came back.
Yeah, been around for a hot minute.
All right, and the last question I have for you, Trespass, and this is one I definitely have a little more knowledge in because we were teammates in season 2.
Yes.
After season 2, how good did it feel to be picked up again this season and improve like you did? Because I mean, you really made some strides. I know you didn't play in a ton of games, but you definitely had some high grades and some stats and a C- whenever your team needed you. So yeah, how did that feel for you to come back like you did and win it all as well?
I mean, in terms of the initial pickup, obviously it was. I'll be honest. It was a bit disheartening dropping to the 4th round. I was hoping to be a 4th on a team, but you know, drafts are drafts; they happen. So that was a bit disheartening, but it did feel good to be able to go through the season and improve to the level, I guess, that I did, for lack of a better phrase. Obviously, I still have a long way to go, but you know, it's picking up, and you know, each season I'll play a bit more, and it'll continue. And obviously, it always feels good winning a championship. That's what we're playing for. It's obviously the best you can do. So that always feels nice at the end.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel that you played very well in season 2. I mean, everybody's allowed to have a bad game or a series. It happens to the best of us and the worst of us. But I mean, in season 2, you had some really good games for us. It's just sometimes that shit happens, you know. It's just how it is. So
For sure.
but yeah, I'm not sure if anyone else wanted to elaborate on that. Shrek, did you have any thoughts?
No, I basically said my piece. Dude's a gamer. That's all I can say.
I appreciate it.
I got you.
They are playing Crunker.
Sorry,
Full
yeah,
tilt.
we're crunking right now.
Crunking.
All right. All right, so I guess I'll just go ahead and get to the end and the closing here. Here's a chance for you to all give your shout outs. Say what you got to say. Maybe a little shit talk in there, but first of all, I'm gonna go ahead and read the shout out that Hell's posted for me. Hell says, shout out to Shrek for pulling through and dealing with the game mode even though you hated it, and dealing with me
Hell yeah.
with all that I demand, and sticking with a team that I was unfamiliar with. Shout out to Grunt for being the most underrated fourth in the season and playing like a monster. He had so many big moments and is so good. Shout out to Trespass after everybody passed on him and for being there when we needed him. He's a really solid player and he showed out. Shout out to Aware and Spank, too, for being themselves and playing this season. Puffy will never be forgotten. Shout out to all the admins for running the season, as well as the captains for committing their time and energy to this. Shout out to the streamers and Spence for a great production and playoffs. It was really well done. Shout out to Evil for all the work and the content he made. Shout out to some old fuck for all that I've done for this season. That's me. For doing all this content and being such a cool guy. Last but certainly not least, the GOAT infection, the repeat, the back-to-back. He's such a great player and also an amazing captain. I'm really glad I had the chance to work with him and everyone else this season. So yeah, GG's to all.
GG.
So I guess you're up now, Shrek. Let's say what you got to say. Anything you want or don't want to, it's all you, brother.
Shout out to my team for sure. It was a good season and first ship in the books, so that's pretty exciting. And it was just a great season. So shout out to these guys. Shout out to the homies, of course. My boy Spank, he got me into competitive Grifball, so I always got to shout out Spank. Cosmos for sure. That's my boy.
My boy.
Yeah, I don't know. Just shout out the homies. The homies know who they are. Fancy, Noplex, Snipes, of course. Shout out the homies.
All right, Quantum Computer, it's on you.
Alright, I had to kill Grunt first.
Fair.
It always chooses the other team. Shout out everyone on the team. Shit. It took all of us to come together to win the ship. Can't do it alone. That was a great squad to do it with. Shout out to my baby girl, Lily. Turned 2 months yesterday. Got her shots. Healthy as can be and happy as can be.
Nice.
Nice.
I never thought I'd hear someone shout out their infant child in a Grifball podcast, but that's pretty cool, man. I like that, for real.
Yeah, he wanted to on the last podcast for after the shit, but he things happened and he wasn't able to make it.
That
That's
fell
what I'm
apart.
talking about. That's
Look
what
at
I'm
that
talking
statement. It's deep in there. I also got that other question you sent.
about. Yeah, Grunt, it's on you. Any shout outs or anything you want to say in closing?
Shout out to the team, obviously, especially Hells for putting this team together and being a great captain, looking for group. Shout out to the crazy guys from season 2. They got me crunking last season. Ben's always drunk. Tommy's dough is rising. A lot of fun.
All right, Trespass, it's on you, man.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, shout out to everyone else on the team. You guys were a great group. Had some good times this year. It was definitely a good time. Thanks to Unoplex for hosting this. Thanks to the admins for running the season and keeping things on the tracks. And shout out to the random dude in 2016 that told me about Grifball Hub at the time to even get me into this in the first place. So, unfortunately, I don't remember the name. Was looking for a group online somewhere, came across it, and he mentioned it while we were playing. So that's what that's what started this whole thing in the first place. So
Looking for group started this.
yes, it started this. It started my journey into Grifball. Competitive Grifball. So yeah, that's everyone.
Well, there's only 5 people that I can think of to shout out, and that's Hell's Angel, Shrek, Infection, Grunt Padre, and Trespass. Because congratulations for y'all on winning the championship. It was a hell of a season, very competitive and even. I thought so, and I'm already looking forward to next season and bid league. So, thank you guys.
19 and
Plex,
3.
You're
So
actually
fair.
forgetting our most valuable teammate of all. And that is Obama Gaming, the random ass motherfucker that joined in one of our games and loaded in on our team.
a
So
super team.
shout out Obama Gaming, the greatest Grifball athlete esports
228.
gamer of all time.
Well, I thank you guys very much for coming on and recording this show for me.
Oh yeah.
And
Thanks for having us.
the next episode that we'll have, it'll probably be a while because it'll be the preseason episode for our next season. But until then, thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the court.
Love you, Glee.